So good morning, everybody. Obviously, today is Monday. I personally don't trade too much on Mondays as far as like placing entries, but I do like to mark up the charts, identify trading opportunities for the week, and then go from there. And obviously, plan your trade our plan. So that's exactly what we're going to kind of be looking at today. If there is any trading opportunities, if there is some entries, if there's something that we can obviously get into, we will be placing that trade live and obviously making some money with that as well. So good morning, everybody. Let's see what we have here in the chat. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hey, what's up? Everybody's saying good morning. All right, so before I initially go into charts and identify some specific things that I personally want to identify, what is it that you would like to see? What markets would you guys like to identify, have marked up, get some confluence on? And what general questions do you necessarily have? It could be anything as far as trading is concerned. If you don't understand a concept, if you need to learn something, if there's something you need that you're struggling with, by all means, feel free to let me know. You can feel free to type in the chat or unmute your mic and let me know as well. So any questions or any specific markets at this time? Let's see what we have here in the chat real quick. USD CAD sell, I'll definitely take a look at that. So anybody else, no questions? All right, so we'll take a look at USD CAD for sell. We have somebody else in the chat. Let me do this really quick. I'm not on your computer right now. Okay. So USD CAD currently is kind of finding some support roughly around this range. Now I'm currently in a scalping buy on this. Not really a scalping. I'm just kind of like trying to get like 20 to 30 pips off of this because maybe a potential correction. What we can initially see here is, again, the market is finding some level of structure, at least here on the 1 hour time frame. Now our trade is still intact, still perfect. I do think it's going to respect the initial zone of, respect the initial pattern, the idea, the direction that we're currently in. But as far as a re-entry, I don't see re-entry just yet. I do see a potential correction, maybe up until this range. Look left to get right. The reason why I'm using that as a potential idea is because look at where this market had to break out of. Let me get rid of this real quick, and also the indicators. What we can see is that this market obviously broke below this level. So I do see a minor correction leading into this zone here. We can see that this, and I'll just delete this really quick. We can see again, USD CAD just finding some level of structure here. It's not going to be perfect. We're on the 1 hour here, but in the 4 hour, we can just see that this is wicks, right? There's no break to the downside. So we have to identify this level as such, as a level of now current support. And we can see the wicks to the downside kind of showing us that idea, really showing us that the market is losing some volatility to the downside and should be in its now what we like to call its corrective phase. With this idea, I would be looking for re-entry roughly around here. So let's actually mark this up. So possible sell re-entry. And we'll mark this up. And that obviously when we get into this range, we will identify the confirmations needed to really show us the idea that this is in fact going to continue to be a sell. So obviously one of those indications can be simple, your Fibonacci retracement tool. We now know that this is correcting and retracing. Now, if you're confused on why I'm using this candlestick low instead of this candlestick low, is because this is where the correction initially started, right? And there has not been a break below that zero level here. So I'm using this candlestick low because nothing broke below this level before we started to see an initial correction to the upside. And what do we have in confluence around that range? It does seem as if we have the 38.2 perfectly there. So this would be the best possible range for a re-entry. Now, again, I am going to get more detail, a little bit more, I wouldn't say basic, but more beginner friendly. I'm just breaking this down to show you the initial entry. And I'll break more charts down more simpler so you guys can understand how to mark up the chart and how to identify these such like trades such as this. So hopefully that kind of gives you an answer to your initial question for USD CAD. Also, I'm going to send this up to you guys marked up in a sense if we were to place this trade. Now, even though our original stop loss is up here, if anything, our stop loss should be at break even now. We should no longer have a risky trade in our trade accounts. This should be at break even if you did sell USD CAD around this range. Actually, we got to go take a look at GBP CAD as well because this is highlighted. I believe this is something we also were trading as well, or we had a markup for it, looking for an entry. And I think you guys should have entered that as well. A lot of you guys did. But I would not use that previous stop loss all the way up here. The stop loss I would use, I don't like going anything more than 50 pips. That's not too much above 50 pips. But even for this, if it does come back within this initial range, I don't want my stop loss to be that high. So we're going to have a 20 pip stop loss. And we're going to have the same initial take profit. And obviously when the market comes back down to this, or if it ever comes back down to this range, if it does, if it breaks, then we know it's a continuation and we hold our trades. If it respects that range, we simply take profits, look for the next opportunity. But let me get rid of this because I don't want anyone confused. So this is what we will be looking for. I'm going to take the fibs out because I don't want anybody to get confused. If you don't use fibs, I know a lot of you guys don't, which is perfectly fine if you don't want to. But this would be the general idea now for USD CAD. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. Wow, we got a lot of people joining on right now. Perfect. So this is kind of like what I'd be identifying. So I'm going to send this up to you guys in the Zoom chat. And then gold looks like it hit support. I'll definitely take a look at that as well. I'm on GBP USD buy. Can you just check it for me real quick? And of course, my favorite pair are Bitcoin and US30. Can you take a quick look at it? Yes, I'll take a look at those. Let me take a few looks at some other things, but I'll definitely come look at GBP USD, some other things as well. So I also wanted to take a quick look at GBP CAD because I'm pretty sure you guys were in this. Wow, I'm currently not in this. This was a trade that we were looking at previously. Same concept, bearish bat pattern. But I'm kind of mad I'm not in this currently. I completely forgot about this trade. I know a lot of you guys are in this. Guys are sending me markups of like you guys saying trade from one of the live sessions. I'm assuming it was this one. But yeah, you can even see here for the majority of all our CAD pairs, we should be looking for more bearish moves. We can see how this bearish bat pattern came perfectly up to the 886 and continued its descent now, or its descent down. Now, that's just because I wanted to jump on here and see if there was a trading opportunity. Obviously, the move has been made, so we can look for potential reentries. I'm actually going to highlight this for potential reentries. It actually does not seem as if it, no, it actually looks like it wants to continue to sell. So I'm actually in small buys on these. I'm going to take my small profits on these actually. Oh, wow, I'm still in really good profits on these, surprisingly. So I would personally still be looking for sells on these, on GBP CAD. So let me mark this up as a potential trade for you guys as well. I think it actually kind of already did kind of spike up to that range. Would I sell GBP CAD right now? Probably not, only because the move kind of already is made here. And we are going to get a new candlestick being here at the top of the hour. So I would want to see if this can spike up a little bit more and this be our next potential reentry. I'm just trying to get you guys some money real quick. Then I'll answer some of your questions as well. But with this, we can't be too crazy because these pound pairs do move. And I would actually have a 40 pip stop loss. So actually not even a 40 pip. We're going to keep it about 30 pips because this can move in the opposite direction and then go immediately back into profits. So we're going to keep it pretty safe like that. And I will be looking for a re-entry here. So let me put this out for you guys as well. And I'll start answering your questions. I just, again, really wanted to make sure that I'm giving you guys some chart markups. As you can see, like I said before in one of the sessions, I stressed it, take advantage of these chart markups. These chart markups will make you tons and tons of money. Save them. Mark your charts up exactly like mine if you have to. Do exactly what I do, so that way you make some profits as well as you're learning on these calls as well. So let me write this down. Re-entry for sells. And you got your stop loss and take profit, obviously, in motion here. So I do think at the top of the hour, we should see some bullish reaction and then another push to the downside. So let me send this up to you guys. I'm going to take my small little profits on these trades real quick. And then let me see what we have here. If you see a possible move on a Monday morning, what's the difference between entering on a Monday or Tuesday? Nothing really. Monday, I mean, sometimes Monday isn't that volatile, right? Sometimes the market doesn't move as much on a Monday. Sometimes you also have false moves on Mondays, meaning that I wouldn't say market makers. I hate saying that because I don't really believe in a thing as a market maker. But the one thing I would say is, again, no volatility, not that many traders, and sometimes your trade setups haven't been met, like the criteria, the signals needed, they have not been met in order for you to place that possible trade. Now, can you place a trade on a Monday? Absolutely. There's really no difference between a Monday and a Tuesday and a Wednesday and a Thursday. The only 2 days you really need to pay attention to and not necessarily trade are Fridays and Sundays. Why? Fridays, obviously the market is closing. There's a lot of news also that's not put out on the websites that's taking place before the banks actually close. Big banks, institutions, they're either taking profits or adding positions and leaving them over the weekend, which i.e. Nugget causes a gap within the market. And obviously that's why when we have gaps, you're like, why did that just happen? It's because the banks and the institutions are putting their money or taking it out before the market closes. So that's why on Fridays, there's either little to no volatility, or there's so much volatility that it's just sporadic and you really can't tell which direction the market's going to go. So I'm pretty sure like a lot of like last Friday or the Friday that passed, obviously, there was a lot of market movement for absolutely no reason. If we look at gold, I'm pretty sure like we had, if I'm correct, where's Friday? Friday was the 16th, right? Like roughly around here. There was no reason for a lot of the movements on the majority of all these pairs. Like even if I'm correct, this was a Friday. Like this move here. Actually, no, that was not a Friday. So, and also the markets are closing. So that's another factor as well. So when you're trading on a Friday, when there's no volatility, you get stuck in a market move when it's just consolidated and ranging. And obviously that's not the type of market we want to be in. And then on a Sunday, obviously, because the market has just opened, there's absolutely no volatility in that type of market. And you really shouldn't be trading in that type of condition. So there's really no big difference between Mondays through Thursdays, but Fridays and Sundays are definitely the ones you want to pay attention to. So hopefully that kind of answers your question. And then somebody says GBP cap, possible re-entry for a sell. Oh, perfect. Yeah, you got that. So I'm going to start looking at some of the markets you guys want to look at. So somebody said gold. So I actually already here on gold. I would not say that gold has hit support. Where's our actual structure? So the question or the statement was, looks like gold has hit support. I would not label this really as a level of strong support, even though it is kind of like referenced here on the daily. I would identify the candlesticks more along the lines of the area of structure, because again, price action. What is the market currently doing? Now, I don't believe this is an actual trend line. I mean, no, I'm not going to really use this trend line actually. I'd probably put that there for just a reference. But what we can see is that the market is currently making a lower high. That is an early indication that the market is kind of losing its buyer's momentum and that sellers are probably taking over. This is not a trend line. I'm just showing you that this is a lower high. If you ever try to determine, well, I don't know if that's really, did it break above or break below? Did it come above? Did it break? Just draw that initial trend line. If it's obviously in the downwards momentum move, you'll be able to see that that lower high is being made. And what this does, this lower high aspect, adds pressure to this move. That added pressure and weight is going to drive this market most likely beyond this structure point. That is my honest opinion. So me seeing this, I would honestly think that this level, and you're absolutely correct, without a doubt, that this level, it has hit a level of support. Absolutely. I don't want you to think it has not. I don't want you to deter your analysis or you think that this is not a level of support. It absolutely is. But identify what the market is currently doing as well. We're starting to get that buyer's exhaustion and the idea that sellers are most likely coming in. What does this look like on the time frame? Look at these candlesticks, or just, specifically this one, right? These don't look as impulsive, bear or bullish, right, as they used to. Now they're starting to look a little bit different. We can start to see the weakness here on the daily. Look at the candlesticks to the upside. Look at the wicks look at the wicks to the upside, and look at the small body candlesticks. Wicks equal rejection, right? Small body candlesticks equal exhaustion. When we scale down to the 4-hour time frame, you start to see that a little bit more evidently. And then also you have that bearish engulfing candlestick, a rejection of this said price. So let's label this actually. So that's showing me that the market is having a lot more strength and more volatility to the downside currently. So I would still be looking for sells on gold without a doubt. Now, obviously, we're not just going to sell gold right now. We have to allow the market to do what? Correct, retrace. Now, why do you think I have this level of structure made right here? Because I do believe if the market comes back anywhere, it's going to retest roughly around this range and then make another push to the downside. So let's actually mark this up as a potential trading opportunity. And I'll also send this up to you guys. So that way, if this market does in fact come into play, you are all making money as well. So let's do this. You guys really think that trading is hard? Look how many entries we found in such a short amount of time. Trading is not difficult. It's just all about identifying the most relevant areas of structure and identifying the actions that proceed with it, right? We know where the market, we know what the market is potentially doing, right? It's setting up for selling opportunities. Now, we don't want to place a sell when it already, 500 pips away after it initially moved. It's going to react off of all of these price levels, especially gold. Gold is one of those just one of those markets that you can trade specifically around price. It reacts around price so well that you can honestly just trade support, resistance, and Fibonacci's with this and trend lines. You don't have to have anything too special or crazy. Obviously, candlesticks being the biggest factor of anything that we do. So you can honestly see how many trades you can look at to getting into confidently by just identifying what the market is doing. You can see these lower lows being made or these lower highs being made. This level of support. Another nugget as well is the more times a price level is tested, the weaker it gets. So we have multiple tests already. I do think that this could be the test that will break the camel's back, if you will. So let's say potential sell area, re-entry, if that. Re-entry, sell. Now with gold, I definitely do not recommend being crazy and using ridiculously huge lot sizes. I always recommend you be extremely safe and use perfect risk management. But I'm not, and when I'm marking these up, these are not exactly where to get in. These are just general descriptions and ideas of what should be done and where we should be looking to enter the market specifically. But obviously, if this level of structure is broken, you really wouldn't have to worry about a take profit. That thing is not going to stop. It's going to continue to fall. So I really wouldn't worry about a take profit. But that stop loss is extremely important. So that's on gold. And I'm also going to send this up. And again, I'm going to look at the chat for you guys really quick. I know you guys are very active there currently. So let me see what you guys got for me real quick. And I'll answer every question that you guys have. All right. So let me go back. I'm just looking up. So GBP USD and US 30 is on the map real quick. I think we'll take a look at Bitcoin after, like towards the end, only because I want to keep it Forex related, and Bitcoin is kind of special because I'm definitely taking a look at that here in the near future. So we'll definitely take a look at that as well. Wait for the break and retest then. Also, yes, you can also wait for the break and retest. If that does, if gold does break down lower, I would definitely look for that retest. Absolutely. If it does not break so low side and we actually do have that correction, even better. Now your risk reward is better because your entry is up here instead of down here, and your stop loss is up here instead of being, your entry here, and your stop loss still having to be at this point. But if it does break to the downside, absolutely. All right. I've been holding GA sells since Friday. Sheesh. So Taylor, I know you GA. Let me see. Actually, I was thinking about GBP CAD. Oh man, you're making some bread then. If you're holding that since Friday, I'm not too sure where you initially entered at, but I would hold that initial sell. I absolutely would. And real quick, before I continue, if you are confused, because I know we do have a lot of new students here, that's perfectly fine. If you need me to repeat something, or if you don't quite understand something, by all means, feel free to unmute your mic. You can interrupt me at any time. Let me know that you don't understand, and I'll make sure that I explain it so that way you retain that knowledge and obviously have that for your own individual trading. Or you can simply type in the chat, let me know as well. But I really want to make sure everyone's grasping this, because I know I speak really quick, and I know some of these things might be relatively new. So if you are confused, by all means, let me know. But what we currently have on GBP AUD, let me actually just delete everything here. We're going to mark this up as if like I'm identifying this for the first time. So what I personally like to do is I obviously like to jump on the higher time frame. If you haven't been profitable, it's probably because you're on the smaller time frame. It's a 15-minute, possibly 5-minute, 1 minute. If you're ever on the 1 minute, that's ridiculous. Don't ever be on the 1 minute unless you're looking to like snipe an entry. I'm always going from the weekly, sometimes even the monthly, honestly. to the daily and below to identify the direction of the market. You don't have to have monthly support here, weekly support here, monthly support. You don't have to have any of that. It's all about relevance. Okay. So I'm going to kind of break this down in a way that everybody understands how I mark up a chart and really get things going. Somebody unmuted their mic. Question?
Yeah, Mark. Well, I mean, Jay, where did you send the charts you marked?
Right in the Zoom chat.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yep. Just scroll up and you'll be able to see them all.
Thank you.
Yep. So for me, I'm always, again, loving to jump on the higher time frames. Why? To identify the trend. So I'm sorry that you hear a bunch of noise in the background. I live in New York City, so it's always going to be kind of noisy. Sorry. So step one, identify trend. And this is recorded, so you guys are more than welcome to, if you want to write this down, by all means, feel free to write it down. Or you can obviously come back and review the recording after with higher time frames. Step two, we'll get to step two, right? So we'll have this here for now. Somebody identify what type of market are we currently in on GBP AUD? Somebody tell me. Somebody type it out or unmute their mic. Let's see what we got here in the chat. Sell, right? We can. I would say sell, yes, but just to keep it funky, in the, like, I wouldn't say professional because it's kind of like unprofessional. Me even say that because I'm not professional with this. But what I would say is yes, exactly, bearish, right? Only because we say sell, that's immediately what your mind is going to think, and you're going to have that psychology. Don't, right? We're in a bearish market because when you say bearish, you're looking for bearish opportunities, but there obviously could be bullish opportunities and buys within that range as well. We don't want to just get stuck to one bias. And I do that for myself as well, because I'll say, oh, look, I'm in a buying market. And then I switch up real quick. And I'm like, no, I'm in a bullish market looking for buying opportunities. But sometimes you'll see me go and counter trend trade as well. So yes, absolutely, we are in a bearish market. So I'm not going to write that down here. We can clearly see it. This is not hard to tell, right? You can clearly see. You don't have to have any indicators or a mathematical formula to identify the direction of the trend. Now, look how simple Forex really is and how common sense it is. We can use a trend line to now mark this up a little bit more evidently. Now, break that word down, trend line. It is simply a line signifying and showing us the true direction and trend of the market. So you don't even have to do too much work. If you have a bearish trend line, you know you're in a seller's market, right? Quick, simple. So I'm drawing this trend line because I can see the connective points. Again, I am now kind of showing you how I break down the chart to identify how to look for potential entries. I got the trend, the direction of the market. I now have my initial connective points for GBP CAD, this being the base, right? The initial point where this trend line started. We can see the connective point, or i.e. our secondary, kind of that area or that price, the action, if you will, that is signifying and really showing that this trend line is confirmed, or the angle of the market is confirmed. Even with the break above here, I believe this was based around a fundamental news release. I do believe that all it wanted to do was come back and have a other form of confluence and retest this area of previous structure. Look how I did that, right? I am looking left to get right. I am identifying what the market previously did, right, to identify what I can currently use. If you do not think that this level of structure is not going to be important in the future, you're wrong. It absolutely will be. So let's mark this up. This was previous support. It came back to retest it as an area of current resistance. We're just dragging this out and using this because we're going to get to this point of breaking down GBP AUD so we have a strong understanding of next potential moves and opportunities. So even with this level of structure being hit, even with this trend line being broken and this level of structure being hit for the retest, I would not confirm this as a breakout, only because of a few factors. One, it did come back and initially close back within the range. Two, I do believe that at price, or just in the markets in general, price, Support resistance, as simple as you want to think it is, a lot of people mess it up. Price is what market sees. The market doesn't see a trend line. It respects price. It does not necessarily respect an angle within the market. It is used as a confluence, absolutely, but it's going to always come back to price. This is called price action trading. I know a lot of you guys hear me say it, but I'm going to say it again. Price action. Identify the most significant level and area of price and identify the action that proceeds within it. What is the price level? This is the price level. What is the action? The retest, respect, and continuation back down. So we are still confirming this bearish market, but this is why I said don't look just don't say sell, because we have found a level of structure here. Now this is kind of like a choppy market in a sense. If we just look here, we can kind of see it's been bullish and bearish for a while. It's been like playing range. And to answer this question as well, you do not have to go all the way back to 1776 in order for you to identify what's going to immediately affect your trade right here. If I'm on the daily and this is all I see, this is all I need. You don't have to have a markup from all the way back in 1980, like no need. Identify this, right? A lot of people struggle with that. They think they have to have a million, markups from back in the day. Not at all. So what I am going to identify is that we're currently, because we're in a bearish market, overall bias is bearish market, but current, so we identify the trend, we identify step 2. Well, markup is step 2 really. So we'll put step 2 being identify structure points. And I'm going to continue to show you how I do that. Identify structure points. So we kind of saw this here being the structure point, a level of support, keeping it very simple. So what can we expect at a level of support? This possible correction, right? This possible move to the upside, or at least hesitation, or like it's stalling, right? It's building up momentum. When you see this, when the market is choppy and just ranging here, it's building up momentum and strength in order for it to then break this said level. You're never going to see, I'm going to draw it out, we can kind of see it here as well. If you have a level of structure, whether it's support or resistance, and the market does this, and it consolidates, and it's ranging, it's because it's gaining all the momentum needed to do this, to break up to the upside significantly, right? It's never going to have a weak break. It's not going to be like this. It will never be like that, I promise you. Because if it ever looks like this is kind of like how I determine my fake outs as well. It's going to come right back. It has to look like this. Did we have that? We absolutely did. Strong impulsive break to the downside. Retest of that range. I do believe right now we are looking at the continuation of this. And even though it did break above, I'm actually going to delete this trend line. This was an old trend line I used for previous analysis, but we really don't even need it at this point. But what we're currently looking at is this ranging market. Again, I'm on the daily time frame. I'm gathering a lot of information because if I can see that we're in this ranging market, I'm just going to actually mark this up for potential trades now. So we identified structure points. We're still kind of on there. We're currently in a range. So we can identify the high and the low of this range. This is current market status. Everything here doesn't matter to me anymore. I only care about this. Because what is the market doing? It's respecting the highs, respecting the lows. So what does that necessarily mean? We can sell off the resistance, take profit, buy off the support, take profit until one of these levels are broken. If it breaks to the upside, we know it's going to have a break to the upside. It's going to be a continuous buy. But for now, we are currently at the high point of GBP AUD. So let's scale down to the 4-hour time frame rather and identify further. We can clearly see the rejection of this level at multiple points. We can see the rejection level here. We can see obviously the current rejection here. Even though it did spike up to the upside, this is a wick on the daily, right? So this actually did eventually end up closing below this level. So this is actually confirmed level of price. Broke to upside on the 4-hour, it's just a wick on the daily. So what I would be currently looking at here is how is this market going to react around, or it actually did react around it already. It rejected. We have a bearish engulfing rejection candlestick from that range. if you want to be a better trader and how to identify very good entries, learn candlesticks. That is the missing piece of the puzzle. So let me actually write that down here on our checklist. So we are already identified our structure points. Step 3, right? Candlesticks. What are they doing at a level of price? Because after we identify the structure points, the candlesticks are then going to tell us the true story of the market movement and next potential moves at that. Because if we have bullish engulfing candlesticks at this level of price, that's going to show me that there's no more selling opportunities and that there's a lot more buyers within the market. But we're not getting that. At the level of price, we're getting wicks to the upside and we're getting small body candlesticks, which is screaming exhaustion and rejection. If I now scale to the 1 hour time frame, because now we understand what the market is doing. We're at a level of price, we identified the levels of structure. The next thing that we should do, I'm trying to look at the list, identify any patterns. And this would be on any time frame. Step 4, identify any patterns. Any time frame. I'll put any time frame as well. i.e., we will use double top, double bottoms, breakout patterns like wedges, triangles, bullish and bearish flags, head and shoulder patterns as well, or advanced patterns such as harmonics or Elliott wave. Now, I personally don't know Elliott wave, so I will not be able to teach you that. I do apologize, but everything else is pretty much sound for me. So this would kind of be the checklist that I would go for. Very simple, very quick and easy 4-step rule. Identify the trend of the market. We know that the majority of the market is bearish. Identify structure points. We know that right now we are at a level of current resistance in a bearish market, and we are seeming to create more momentum to the downside. Why? Even though we are at this level of structure here, that's not a real strong level. It's only been tested a few times. And we're currently building up the momentum and strength to push down lower. And I would believe this would be the general target range as well. So for me, I would now identify, obviously, the structure points, scale down to the smaller time frames to look for any type of ideas of this bearish market to be continuous, i.e. candlesticks. Are they bullish looking or are they bearish looking? If they're bearish looking, great. We're going with the flow of the market and we could be looking for opportunities to the upside. If they're bullish looking, then obviously we're not going to be using this level of price as our potential entry point. We could be looking further. We could look somewhere else. But currently, we are identifying this level of current price, and then the candlesticks is confirming this level of structure, right? The patterns is what's needed next. So I don't necessarily see a pattern, excuse me, here on the 4 hour, but if I jump to the 1 hour, we kind of do see, I wouldn't say a double top, kind of is off a little bit, but not really such a pattern. I would kind of use this as a double top idea. I do like the fact that it found a level of price here a little bit, swooped down, came back up to kind of test that same range, and then had initial push to the downside. So at least for this, now we're getting our re-entry. This would be our re-entry. Why would that be our re-entry to the market? Because we can see that this was the high point, at least here on the 1 hour, because we just went from the higher time frame, dissected it a bit. Now we're in the smaller time frame looking for entries. You have to use a higher time frame, get the idea, direction, market movement, and then identify where your next potential entry is going to be. I'm using here because this is where the market broke lower. And you kind of see it's gravitating towards this initial point because this is the last level of structure it's familiar with, and that is considered a decision area, not just an entry point, a decision area for the market. It will gravitate towards these relevant areas of prices and then continue to make its move or decide if it wants to push up higher. But I would be looking at this again as a potential sell on GBP AUD. So if you're selling since Friday, I know I kind of like went in on that, but I just want to be detailed. I know we do have a lot of new students. I want you guys to understand kind of the concept of how I trade and also learn the simplicity or just kind of see how easy it is to not just break down the chart, but also look for entries as you're doing it. So this is what I'd be looking for as far as a trading opportunity. Now, this would come with confluence. We're not just going to enter the market once we get here. That is extremely important. So let me do this. Possible re-entry sell. So if anyone is confused on that, wants me to reiterate or go back and kind of explain something again, by all means, feel free to let me know. But to answer your question, GBP AUD, since you've been on a sell since Friday, hopefully this gives you extra confluence and this gives everybody another potential re-entry within the market as well. So let's kind of look and identify this potential opportunity here shortly, because it does seem as if it is going to come into that range here actually while we're on the call. So we'll take a look at that here in a bit. The JCP app is good for learning candlestick patterns. Perfect. I'll definitely take a look at that after, and I'll send that out for everybody. Seems about the same. Yeah, for the majority of all pound pairs. If we look at one pound pair, the majority of all other pound pairs are going to be doing the same. So that will be kind of the same concept. If this is going to be correcting and kind of looking for a re-entry here, the majority of all pound pairs should be doing the same as well. Yeah. What would you look for once it reaches that area? Candlesticks. Yes, absolutely. Candlestick confirmation. Also, Fibonacci's. I don't personally like to tell you guys what to look for. I mean, obviously I do, because I want you guys to obviously be successful, trade the same way or somewhat similar. But I also want you to determine what confirmations you can see, excuse me, what confirmations you can see, and also like how you would personally enter the market, because what works for me is not always going to work for everybody else. So I want you to be able to find out what works for you as well, because as an individual trader, that's how you build your confidence and really get a good go within the markets. But absolutely, candlesticks, and as you can see, I just pulled out the fibs at 61.8. Now, I think I explained it earlier, but when you have a double top, you also look for that 26.18 retracement. It's considered a 26.18 trade. I'm going to actually send this up to you guys in the Zoom chat. It's all over YouTube. It's not like a special strategy that I made up or anything, but it's called the 26.18 trade. So YouTube it. Study on, I know you guys can't see me typing, but I'm just typing it in the chat for you guys. 26.18 trade study on YouTube. No joke. It is a very good concept to learn, and it's also a very profitable strategy that anybody could benefit off of as well. So if you can understand the 26.18 trade, this would literally fall into that criteria. So that would actually be a perfect entry point for us within this market. So yeah, definitely look at that after, obviously not now. Don't go searching right now, don't get distracted. But this is what I'd honestly be looking for here on GBP AUD. And the majority of all pound pairs as well. So let me see what else you guys got. Somebody said GBP USD, same thing for the most part. I mean, GBP USD. So let's mark this up, break this down. We get same concept. I actually have it marked up somewhat similar. But the thing with this is I do see the US dollar losing some strength here for a bit, or I'm sorry, the pound gaining a bunch of strength here in a bit. So GBP CAD and GBP AUD, those might be short-lived. I'm going to keep my eye on those here. But I do kind of see a pattern. What is that pattern? Looks like inverted head and shoulders pattern, right? Let me actually just delete everything. We're going to mark this up so it makes sense to everybody, all right? So again, let me actually go back so that way you guys get those steps as well. I really want you guys to have those steps in case you guys need them, because I didn't really implement that here when I sent the chart markup to you guys. So yeah, I really want you guys to be able to have this as well, as far as like what to confirm, what you're going to need, and what to look for to place a profitable trade. Now you already really have the initial markup, so I'm just going to kind of like send it out like this. It doesn't really matter what this looks like, just have the initial checklist to the downside. But that's literally it. There's not much to it when it comes to trading. All right. So I'll take a look at USD CHF right after I look at GBP USD as well. I got you, brother. So GBP USD, I'm identifying the direction of the market, right? That was the first step in what we do. And again, if this seems a little too basic and newish, I apologize, but you'll see how much advanced work we did literally by just showing the basics and doing the basics. So this is not an accurate trend line. I'm just showing you the direction of the trend. What is the direction of the trend? Bearish, right? It's down. So we should be looking for strong selling opportunities. But scale out a little bit higher, and we can see that we're at a level of structure, right? This is extremely important that we identify every aspect within the market. This is why I'm considering GBP USD to end up being a little bit more to the bullish side. We are at a level of strong structure. I'm on the weekly time frame. A lot of people will probably be like, yeah, it's just selling. We should be selling. Absolutely. But it could be turning into a potential buy. A lot of people will miss out on that. People will be like, oh, it's definitely going to continue. And then it doesn't. And it ends up being a strong buy. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be a buy right now, but I do consider this potentially being one relatively shortly. So I'm going to mark this up. I'm going to put it where our current status is, but strong buy level, right? So I'm going to now jump down to the daily. This is called time frame correlation. When I go from one time frame to the other, it's called time frame correlation. The reason why I do that is because you need to have supporting factors of what you're looking at. If I look at the weekly and it looks like a buy, the daily also has to confirm that. The daily also has to show me the idea of a potential buy. And I don't currently see that right now, but what I do currently see, because as far as like confirmations, I like to personally identify bullish engulfing candlesticks at a level of structure, or support rather, at a low. We don't currently have that, but we are kind of getting the idea of the rejection since we couldn't break lower, right? And we just here, just a little bit detailed, might not catch us, it'll take a little bit of time and experience, but on a smaller time frame, that's a break above. So even on the daily, I can see this, right? I can see that the market has made its rally to the upside. Now we identified the trend, which is bearish. Now we identified our levels of structure, this being a strong buy level. You don't have to have your chart literally look like this, wherever it is, like that. You don't have to have every single thing marked up. This is monotony. This is crazy. Keep it as simple as possible. You can now see we're at a buy range. We broke above, or I wouldn't say broke above, but we made an initial high, obviously on the smaller time frames, right? So we're getting the idea that this buy level is pretty significant, and it is taking an effect on this trade. So we should be taking note of that. So what else should we do? If I'm getting the idea that the market has made an initial break to the upside on the daily, I have to confirm that now off the 4 hour. Now, if I jump to the 4 hour, things start to get a little bit more detailed, right? Did we just create a higher low? This being the higher low. Absolutely. What does that necessarily mean? That means that the market is now finding, or the market is having sellers exhaustion, and now we're having buyers coming in. So with that kind of idea, just the higher low, that's giving me the early indication of volatility and direction of where the market is truly wanting to go. The next confirmation is that break. You can see that we broke above this. None of this matters right now. None of this matters currently. I'm paying attention to what the market is currently doing, because again, what already happened, we can't make money on this. Yes, beautiful sell right here. Great. Can't make money on that anymore. We're looking at what the market is currently doing to get the bigger picture, so we get in the long-term trade. I'd rather get 500 pips than 5, right? I want to make sure I'm getting into that bigger move. So we can see the lower high, or I'm sorry, the higher low being made, and we now see the higher high being made. It broke above this initial point, right? This was previous resistance right here. And it broke above that previous resistance impulsively. Remember what I said, you're never gonna have a weak break of structure. And it came back down to do what? Retest that same level of structure. And then did what? Early indication of now another higher high being made. Now we are at a level of resistance. So we gotta, again, identify levels of structure, significant levels of structure. It does not matter if you have 16 different support and resistance levels. You only want to identify what's relevant. Now, I'm going to do this. That way you understand the reason why I have this as a level of resistance. Resistance. Also, if this level is broken, it confirms strong buys. I'm not just identifying strong, support resistance levels and structure points. It's because once I identify either being respected, like it currently is right now, then you could look for a selling opportunity. There's a trade within that. Or if the market is obviously broken, it's going to then confirm the continuous buying opportunity and also be used as a level for entry, because the market's going to come back down, retest, and ask itself, do I want to continue to buy from here? Don't believe me? What happened here? Pushed up, came back down, retest. Pushed up, came back down, retest. It doesn't always come back down perfectly to the area of structure. That's why we use our bids. But I would be looking, and also the biggest thing I almost missed, that fourth idea, or the fourth idea rather, because we already saw the candlesticks is rejecting. We see that the market has found its resistance point. This is confirmed. The next step is the pattern. What patterns can we see to kind of confirm what we are currently looking at based off the daily, the 4 hour, and even here off of the 1 hour? An inverted head and shoulders pattern, which is a bullish indication. So let me do this really quick, in case you can't see it. Left shoulder, head. This is the start of the right shoulder. It can come back down to this range, or i.e. quick nugget and tip. If you're looking to trade a head and shoulders pattern a little bit early, if the pattern is if it's perfect, because not all of them are perfect, but if it looks like this, your entry is at the same price range as the previous left shoulder. So we're getting a lot of confluence for a buy here on GBP USD. So what I would be looking at is kind of like this for GBP USD, inverted head and shoulders pattern, right? I would be looking for now my entry roughly around this range. So let's do this. You guys getting a lot of potential trades this morning. You guys getting a bunch of them. And then obviously if that breaks up to the upside, don't even worry about a take profit. That'll continue for a really long time. The only thing I really would worry about is a stop loss. With this, it would have to be more than 50, because that would have to be the low that needs to be respected here of the head and shoulders pattern. But this is what your initial trade would look like. And then also that break, this would also be the break of the neckline, not only just structure. So you have a lot of confluence here for potential buy here on GBP USD. Does that kind of confirm correlation or confluence with your initial analysis, or was this completely different? Because again, you really want to make sure that you're identifying the true factors within the market structure, where we are, obviously the trend, where we are within the market, because obviously we are in a seller's market, but we're kind of getting those buying indications here on this time frame. We're not just this time frame, but we're starting to get the idea of a buy at this level of price. Again, identify price and the action that proceeds with it. This is the price, the strong buy level. The actions are the higher lows, the higher highs, the inverted head and shoulder pattern. The action would be the break above or the break higher. The action would be the retest at this level of price, right? Break it down. Do not overcomplicate it. Price, action. Identify the specific and most relevant areas of price and the action that proceeds with it. The actions are the candlesticks, the patterns, the higher highs, the higher lows. All right. And I know I keep reiterating myself, but with this, you have to. This is the only time where you really have to have this like just drilled into your head, because that's where you don't make the mistakes, and that's how you learn a lot more accurately as well. Because I wish I had somebody just telling me to do this and do that over and over and over again, because I kept making the same mistakes over and over again. That was the only thing I was consistent about when I first learned how to trade. So I want you guys to really understand what's needed. So with that being said, let me send this up, guys, as well. What questions do you guys have? If you are confused, I'm pretty sure some of you might be. If you're not, perfect, even better. But what questions do you guys have? And I'm going to take a look at USD as well. And I'm going to send this. Is this, did I already send this up? I have it. So I'm going to send GBP USD up to you guys as well. And then I'll take a look at what we got from Angelica. I have to go. I forgot. I have doctor appointment. All right, no problem. Absolutely. I'll post a recording up for you. And also, Angelica, I got my store up, so I got to have you take a look for it as well. So I definitely got you. So much sense after you explaining GJ as well. Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right. So have good luck at your doctor's appointment. Absolutely look out for the recording. I'll make sure I post that for you guys afterwards as well. So taking a look now at USD CHF. That is actually really, really good because I think if I'm correct, I'm currently in a buy on USD CHF on my big account. I don't necessarily, I put like limit orders in that damn thing. I don't even take a look at it sometimes because I'm very patient with it. I let trades run there. That's another thing. If you have multiple accounts, have one as like your retirement account, have another account where you get a little bit risky and you take trades, or not trades, you take withdrawals out. Do not take withdrawals out of your big retirement account. Just let that one sit so that way you have millions of dollars in the future, because obviously that's what we're aiming for. And I'll teach you guys how to do that in the near future as well. But USD CHF, we can kind of see what we have here. Again, jumping up to the daily time frame, you're going to see that same very familiar theme all the time. And where are we currently? Actually, let's just delete everything and let's see what we have. So again, identifying the type of market that I'm currently in, the general overall bias, we're in a bearish market. Now, I did have an initial trend line here, but it was broken, as you see here. So I'm actually going to draw that out because that's actually going to be used as a form of confluence here in a second. So we have this bearish trend line. You can see the connective points. And again, I'm on the daily time frame. First initial touch, or the connective point, the anchor, if you will. Secondary, this would be considered our trigger. The third touch of the trend line is usually considered the entry within that market. So you could have obviously seen the potential opportunity here, right? That third touch confirms the trend line, and with confirmation, obviously, you enter off of that third touch, and then obviously you can see that initial move there. But we identify the level of structure. We identify the direction of the market, the trend. Now, again, that's next step. Identify the most relevant areas of structure. I don't need to have this resistance marked up. I don't have to have this resistance marked up. The only one I would really have marked up is probably this one. We'll get to that. But you don't have to have, again, your chart look like this, because if it does, it's insane. Keep it simple, right? That KISS system, keep it simple for success. Where are we currently at? Or where do we just bounce off of? Level of strong support. Daily, weekly support rather. So I'm just going to put strong structure. Strong structure. Right, because now we identify this as a potential buy range. What is confirming the idea of a buy or this being a buy range? Well, obviously the respect and the push to the upside, obviously the strong bearish move, and then immediately when we got to that price range, for some reason, it had a bullish move. And then what eventually happened was that trend line. The reason why we're keeping that trend line here is it was broken. And even though it kind of did come back, test that range and come within, it never really broke and stood within that range, right? This isn't a confirmed break and close within and a continuation down. It ended up coming back down, not only retesting the area of strong current structure, right? Support, buy range. It's also respecting that outside retest of our initially broken trend line, which is confirming even further strong buying opportunities. Now, this is on the higher time frame. We now have the idea that USD CHF is a possible reversal. This is why, again, we use the higher time frames. If not, you're not going to get the big picture. And a lot of people be like, oh, well, this is a seller's market, right? Because it is. It's very much a bearish market. There's even a double bottom here. Look at that, right? We're in a seller's market, but we're getting a lot of buying indicators. That's why, again, to go back, when we were saying seller's market, no, we're in a bearish market, absolutely. But we can look for different opportunities, i.e. a possible reversal here on USD CHF. So if we scale down, we have to scale down to smaller time frames again to now confirm what we're looking at on this daily time frame. Again, that's called time frame correlation. I'm going to jump down to the 4-hour time frame. And what can we see? Well, eventually we saw that the market started creating higher lows, right? Same concept. It's kind of like the same thing we were looking at previously. It is actually what we were kind of looking at previously. Higher low. And you're not going to use that because I know you're probably like, oh, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. You're only going to use that at a level of structure. Again, identify price and the action that only happens at a level of structure, significant level of structure, not at every piece, within the market. So what we can see here, again, higher lows, wrong tool, higher lows, and also we created a higher high. And what did that market do after it created that higher high? It came back to retest that initial point where it broke out of, and then found its buying opportunity within it. Now, can we confirm that? Absolutely. We actually have candlesticks kind of looking extremely weak to the downside. You see this wick here, wicks to the downside showing rejection. This is a hammer candlestick showing more bullish potential. Bullish engulfing candlestick as well. Even on the, we can see it here on the 1 hour or the 4 hour, but we can see it better on the 1 hour. It also just created a newer high. Confirm that off the 1 hour, right? It is building momentum to the upside. It's kind of like steps, right? We were just on the first floor. Now we're on the second floor here. Now we're on the third floor, going to the fourth floor. Identifying structure and price of the markets is like this, no joke. So you're gonna kind of see the markets do this. We're seeing it on USD CHF. Level of structure, it finds a price where it corrects from. This is us running up the stairs. I don't know if anybody did this as a kid. I know I was rambunctious as hell. But if you ran up a flight of stairs, like from the first floor all the way up to the 5th floor on one breath, you get tired. You're gonna have to take a break. That's the market correcting, right? The market, when it finds a level of price, that's when it went from the first floor to the 5th floor on one breath. It's out of breath and it's gaining some momentum, catching its breath back. That's when the market then finds itself, gets its breath, and then goes beyond that 5th floor. Now it's tired again, and it catches breath. It's going to catch its breath, but it's probably going to stay on that initial floor, the 5th floor, to catch its breath, and then continue. I like analogies. Analogies work very well for me, at least, to understand things. It literally is levels, steps. The market will just do this continuously. Break, retest, break, retest, until it does this, right? And then it does the opposite. That's when you get your head and shoulders pattern for the reversal. Lower lows, lower highs being made, comes back, retest, comes back, retest. We're kind of getting that same concept here on USD CHF. Push to the upside, break, retest. Push to the upside, break, retest. Push to the upside, break, retest. We're getting a push to the upside. It's going to come back down, retest. So let's actually look for potential entries here on USD CHF. Or on the 1 hour. I don't personally like marking anything up on the 1 hour, but since this is kind of like giving us an early indication of potential trade, it would, and obviously I love the way this bullish engulfing candlestick bounced right off of this level of structure. I'm going to be looking for a re-entry here based off the 1 hour time frame. So it's going to look kind of like this. And I'm not going to base it, again, I'm not going to enter it right when it gets here. This will be considered an aggressive entry. Aggressive entry. And I would definitely love to see if this can come back down to this range and then push up. So this would be conservative entry. So I'd be looking for buys roughly around here. So does that kind of give you some more confidence on what you were initially looking at, Diego? Or for anybody for that matter, if you were looking at USD CHF. But again, we identified where the market was, where it was going. It was bearish, but we obviously found a level of structure. We can see how the market has reacted off of that level of structure. And we can see how the market is now creating newer levels of higher highs and higher lows, giving us the early indication for potential buys. Obviously, the trend line being respected as well. There's also, I didn't even notice this until now, harmonic pattern. So yeah, that's definitely, in my eyes, going to continue to be bullish. Again, advanced pattern, kind of in that 4th step, right? Identify level of structure, what the market is doing, and if there's any patterns, double tops, double bottoms, advanced structure points, such as this harmonic, that'll give you a strong indication as well. So hopefully for USD CHF, that helps a lot. Yes, perfect, it does. Perfect, perfect, perfect. I really want to make sure that this, resonates very well with a lot of you. And I really want to make sure that I'm speaking about things that's going to help you become a trader. So if this definitely did help you, by all means, perfect. If you are in a trade on this, I'm not too sure if you are. If you did enter, if you're in profits, just simply move your stop loss into a profitable manner. So that way it becomes a risk-free trade. You don't have to worry about it. And it can continue to pay you out throughout the day, even week, if it does. does continue. I do believe if this ends up continuing to be a buy, let's just say here, we have a long way for that to go in order for the first initial targets to really be hit. Like obviously this will be my first initial target. And if you're wondering why, just look left. It's because it's the first level of structure. I always base my trades, my entries, stop losses, and take profits off of levels of structure. That is exactly how I do it. I do not overcomplicate it. So that will be the first level of structure really for take profits. But ultimately, we're looking at these highs. Yeah, these highs up here to be initially met here. So yeah, we got a long way to go if that does come into play. So for USD CHF, I would definitely be holding that for a while. So yeah, let me see what we have here in the chat. Any other questions from you guys? By all means, feel free to ask. You can unmute your mic, guys, or type in the chat. Either way, don't be shy. Don't be shy. I got to make sure I hear from you guys, because if not, then it's going to be hard for me to understand what you guys need help with. So if you have questions, there's no such thing as a stupid question on my calls either, by no means. Gold, did I? Oh, I did end up selling. Oh, no, we didn't sell gold together.
Hey, Jay.
Come on. What's up, brother?
Yeah, this is not chart related, but on my Discord, I don't have the Zoom chat on my Discord.
The what?
The Zoom chat.
No, I'm putting no. If you go into the Zoom chat, like in the Zoom chat,
that's not like that on my chat on my Zoom call.
Do you have any of the? Do you see all the text from other, like myself and the other students in the Zoom group chat?
I don't have Zoom chat. I only have the Zoom and the Zoom recordings.
No. If you go, there should be somewhere here on the Zoom, because you definitely have Zoom chat, where there's the ability to actually type in. If you go to that, you'll see the chart markups.
I see. Okay.
You got it?
Zoom.
Yeah.
Oh,
go press Zoom chat. You'll be able to see. It should have like a few messages if you miss it.
Yeah.
Press Alt H. That should help. Somebody just thank you for that. I didn't even know that. That's actually pretty dope. So if you hold Alt and H, you should be able to get the Zoom chat.
Okay.
But all the charts are marked up in there.
Okay.
And then what I'll do is I'll send those charts in the group as well. I just send them in here because it's obviously like more accessible, because a lot of you guys are in the Zoom chat. But definitely learn how to get to that Zoom chat, because all the chart markups are in there. But I'll definitely place those in the Telegram as well. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions? Any other markets you guys got for me? None? All right. So what I'll do is I'll take a look at some things real quick. And again, feel free to unmute your mic or type in the chat. So let's see. I kind of want to see if there is any other trading opportunities, to be completely honest. But you guys got a lot of fucking fire charts this morning. I'm actually going to be looking at these heavily for myself as well. So let's see what else we have. I'm going to start looking at some of these yen pairs. Yen pairs are my favorite pairs to trade. They're extremely volatile, and for me, at least, the way that I see them, extremely easy to identify potential trades, honestly. And the volatility within them is great as well. I like the way that they move a lot. So I'm going to be taking a look at, I'm going to be holding GJ close. And if you look at GJ, or any pound pair for that matter, you got to look at these as well. Ooh, so look at that. Re-entry for possible sell. So let's do this as well. Let's trade our plan. Let's sell Euro GBP right now. Since we had this marked up, this was something that obviously I was trying to identify. Let's mark this up. Now, I do not want anybody placing a ridiculously huge lot size. Do not get crazy. Just because it's a trade signal does not mean it's 100%. I want everybody to realize that. All right, so let's sell Euro GBP. Right, I just put a sell up. Did I just? Oh, I thought I pressed buy. I was about to be so mad. So I just sold Euro GBP. No confusion about it. Even though we are at a level of structure, we can see that the market is currently creating more lows. we see, if I just daily time frame, we can see how the market was obviously in a strong buy for a really long time. And I don't see it really becoming a buy up until this initial range, and obviously respected that initial trend line. So what we can see is the market is now in its corrective phase. It broke lower, broke a structure point, and it continued to do so. What did the market come back and do after it broke this level of structure here? Not overcomplicating it. Broke lower, came back, retested that level of structure. We are back in our kill zone here as well. 61.8, 71.1. It doesn't matter which fib ratio. The question I always get, because I know somebody's probably asking themselves in their head, which fib ratio should we always enter off of? None of them. You don't describe, you don't think the fibs at that, like in that manner. You don't just say, oh, it's time to, sell and buy this because it's at the 61.8. We identify it when the markets really confirm it with the candlesticks, and obviously a level of structure as well, and this being it. So if you guys want to place, I'm actually going to put another little, so I think I missed my initial entry, but I got a better entry now. So I just entered it again. So by all means, sell Euro GBP. I'm actually going to send this markup to you guys as well. The stop loss and take profit. I know you guys are probably wondering about that. So let me do this. Stop loss is going to be about 45 pips. Take profit, first general take profit. I don't like having a one-to-one trade, but first general take profit is like 60 pips, but our ultimate take profit is obviously down here. So about 132 pips. So that is what I would be looking at. So let me actually, yeah, you guys are good like that, right? Yeah, perfect like that. I don't want to overcomplicate it. It's actually perfect. You see, like, again, I'm not overcomplicating it. I don't have a lot of structure points. I'm just identifying the most relevant area of structure, because within that area of structure, I'm looking for an entry, nothing else. Oh, it has to do this. No, I want to identify what it's doing at a specific level, because that is where I'm going to enter off of at all times. Not the man-made crossing over the ocean and all these. By no means. Price action. That is the fastest and most efficient way of being profitable. Now, again, do not go crazy with your lot size with this. I don't want anybody losing a lot of money with this if it does not go in our direction. Stop loss is about 91. Well, I got the stop loss right up there for you. Right, everything is up there for you. If you look here to the right, in the red, that's your stop loss. Right, that is stop loss. And then you look here to the bottom on the right. This in green is your stop, is your take profit. Right? So that's exactly how it should be. Mark for your stop loss is right here in the red. Take profit is right here in the green. So when you put that in your MT4, that's exactly what credentials you should be using. All right? Type before you show this. Oh, you're good. No problem. No problem. Excuse me, you didn't save USD CHF chart. Did I not? Or did I not send it? My bad. So let me do this. Could have sworn I did, but let me send up USD CHF. My bad. So sorry. I got you. All right. So I left the room and missed my GA re-entry. Did it go into the zone? Damn near perfect. I wouldn't re-enter that just yet though. Like, it still has some time. Still has some time to re-enter. All right. So now that threw me off. I thought we missed a trade on that. All right. So what were we just looking at? We were at USD CHF, and then I was also looking at Euro GBP. That's what it was we're looking at. All right. So make sure I sent you at Euro GBP as well. All right. Cool. So I sent that up as well. So yeah, you guys got some trades, got some good markups as well. All credentials here for your trade here on Euro GBP as well. So by all means, take advantage of that. But yeah, any other questions? Any other markets you guys want to identify? By all means, feel free to let me know. Any other questions? Oh, that also means potential buy here on GBP JPY. This is a bullish breakout pattern. I do like the way that this market looks. Let me actually just do this as well. You guys are probably going to be really confused with this, but I'm just identifying something really quick with my strategy. I do like this for a buy, to be completely honest. We did just get momentum. This is a re-entry. So I don't know. I wouldn't say let's be risky on this, only because we're in a trade already with Euro GBP. But anytime I trade Euro GBP, I love to trade GBP JPY because they're inverse pairs, right? If one does one thing, the other one does the complete opposite. If this goes up, Euro GBP goes down. If Euro GBP goes down, GBP JPY goes up. So I definitely want to see if if GBP and JPY ends up being bullish from here as well. So I'm not too sure if anybody wants to do this, but I'm personally going to take a small position buy on GBP JPY. My stop loss is going to be about 20 pips. Actually, no, because I could see that wicking down and being hit, to be really honest. So about 25 pips. I can see that being stop loss real quick. And then my take profit is going to be about 100 pips because I know how GJ works, and if it moves, it moves. But that would be my first general take profit. And that could be hit today within a few hours if this does break out to the upside. But this would be my initial trade setup. It is relatively risky only because it has not broken out as well. But if anything, I would be looking at GJ as a potential buy here soon as well. So hopefully that kind of gives confidence. And I'll kind of send this up in case anybody wants it. But that's a personal trade. It is risky. I am going to tell you that, only because it hasn't broken out to the upside yet. And there really isn't strong confirmation. I don't like buying at a high point. This is still relatively buying at a high point. It's not really buying at a low point. I like to see steeper corrections, something like this, and then I'd buy. But with this breakout pattern, how the market is initially looking, I would be looking at this to actually buy from here. So I'm going to take a small position. Oh, I said small position. I just placed a 5 standard buy on it by accident. So let's hopefully, I hope this goes in my direction, because a 5 standard loss is not something I want to deal with on a Monday. I accidentally pressed buy with that. So let's see how that goes. I'm on my phone, by the way, if anybody's like wondering. How do you organize what trades you have? You see how like I have everything, well, for TradingView at least, you see how like these have red, or like they're just color coded, or not anymore, but like there's just red. I'll just know which ones I'm looking at and which ones have potential trades by just highlighting them. Again, I keep it simple. I don't have like a diary of trades and what markets to look at. No, I just keep it as simple as possible. Anything that's marked up here on the side is something that's either I'm in, something to be identified, it has a potential trade setup, something like that. Makes sense? Do you have alerts too? Like I don't necessarily have like alerts set up throughout like when a price is hit. Only because when I'm looking at initial entry, I know that entry is pretty far. It's going to take a while for it to get there. Or at the same time, I'm looking at the idea of just being on the charts in general. I'm always on my phone. So I periodically check the charts, and usually on my phone, I'll have like a line on where I'm looking to potentially enter. If it gets to that point, I just pull up TradingView real quick. And I also have TradingView on my phone too, so it's really convenient. But I also just on my MT4, I know where I'm going to basically have a line of that. So that kind of makes some sense, hopefully. Do you trade US 30? I'm actually going to take a look at US 30 right now. But yes, I do. And I'll take a look at AUD-CHI. So US 30, everybody wants to identify US 30. It's crazy. This is like this and NAS 100. Like, I don't know what the hell everybody's looking at with that. But this is kind of like what I'm looking at. I was looking at a kill zone for potential entries here. I think I actually did enter a personal trade on this and then got stopped out. But we can currently see here, I'm going to always leave the same analysis I have up. I'm never going to change it. So you can click that. Let me just do this. I'm trying to delete some things. Here we go. Oh, no, actually, I need this. Counter trend line move. So again, higher time frame confirmation. What kind of market are we currently in? We can currently see that we're in a bearish trending market. We see that we did eventually break level low, and that the market obviously found some level of resistance here. So the market obviously created that new impulsive low, and if we scale down to a smaller time frame, you can see what I like to call, or not call it is, a counter trend line. That counter trend line is basically just showing me whenever the market then breaks out is going to continue or show more volatility to the downside. And then you can place a trade obviously at the counter trend line area, the test of it, or roughly around these fib ratios as well. So we're actually at the 786 fib ratio here. Now, I personally would not be looking at a sell just yet, just because we got there. I would want to see how it ranges, but let's label this. Let's actually see. This actually is coming into a nice level here as well. Jump up to the 4 hour. Actually, this does look like a really decent sell. So it is coming back to retest previous structure lows, or actually of this double top. So, and also that 786 fib ratio being kind of, not kind of, absolutely being respected as well. This would be the area for potential sells. now that we have adjusted our charts and see what the market is currently doing. Best area for potential re-entry sells. I know that's spelled potential wrong by accident, but you guys get what I mean. Now, would I say to enter that trade right now? Probably not, only because the move has already initially happened. And how many times have we also had those strong selling indications and then it continued to push up higher, right? I don't like to base anything off of the 1 hour as far as confirmations. I want to see how this candlestick closes here on the 4 hours. So we got literally 3 hours left. And obviously here off of the daily, because if it still closes bullish engulfing or just bullish in general, it hasn't lost its full momentum. If it still closes bearish on here, it doesn't give me anything, right? I want to see how the 4 hour and the daily close. We might have a reaction off of it right now, but 71.8 had a reaction, or the 71.1 had a reaction, looked very bearish, and it continued to push up higher as well. So I would be a little bit patient on this, but I would be identifying this now as the best potential area for potential sells. If you want to sell this on your own risk, by all means. I'm not going to tell you what to do with your own account. It's your money, it's your trades. If you think you're going to be profitable, if you know you're going to be profitable, absolutely. But I'm personally not going to do this. I'm going to kind of hold off on this just for now. But this would be the best general area to look for potential entries. So hopefully that kind of makes some sense. What are the stop loss and take profits on GJ again? All right, hold on. I'll send that up. So let me send this up real quick. And I could have sworn, did I not send GJ here in the charts? Let me just double check. Could have sworn I did. Guess not. All right, so what I'll do is I'll go to GJ real quick and I'll send it up. Could have sworn I did. All right, so let's do this. 1 hour. And again, this is only if you want to take it, because this is still relatively risky. So be very cautious with this. So I just sent the markup with GJ with the initial take profit and stop loss in case anybody wants to take that. Again, still very relatively risky only because it has not broken out. I don't like trading breakout patterns until obviously they're broken out up. But I would be looking at, since we're looking at a sell on Euro GBP, I like the buy idea with GBP JPY. So we'll take a look, see how this goes. Obviously, we got to wait a few hours, maybe in a day or two, to see how this initial market reacts. Well, hopefully it does go in our favor, because that 5 standard is going to kill me if it doesn't. Not really. It's still like 1% of my account, but like I still, or just 1% risk, but I still don't want that to be a loss. That's crazy. But yeah, you guys got GJ also set up to you guys with the initial markup, take profit, stop loss. But what other questions do you guys, oh, somebody said AUD-CHF as well, so I'll take a look at that. But what other questions do you guys have? What other markets do you guys want to identify? I don't want to keep you guys too long, but we'll just identify a few more things. So for the individual who asked about AUD-CHF, what is your general question about it? That's one thing I also want to understand as well. What is it that you were looking at with AUD-CHF, and what was it that you really want to identify? Again, I want to make sure that I'm speaking about relevance, something that's going to pertain to you and help you become a better successful trader. So what was your general question about AUD-CHF, if there was one, and if you're still on the call? Feel free to unmute your mic or simply type in the chat as well. Because again, I really want to make sure that I'm just talking about something that's relevant, and that's not going to not make any sense, right? I want to talk about anything that's not going to help you. Not too sure if you're still on the call, but all right. So we'll take a look real quick on AUD-CHF. So somebody want to look at it, probably come back and look at the recording. So hopefully they get it there. Oh, you're already here. So we have a sell on it, just getting a feeling it's getting stronger. You mean stronger for the correction? You mean? Will you eventually go over your strategy you had? No, not here. The strategy itself, yes, I will be teaching it, but that'll be completely separate from here. In order to understand the strategy, honestly, you have to understand this, like actual price action does not work if you don't. So the majority of people who are learning it currently, they're already like high-end professional traders, and it's not to like deter you guys, it's only because they grasp it a little bit easier because of the monotony it looks like and everything that's kind of needed. But I will be going over that, but not here, not on this platform. This is kind of just to get this, like, get you guys understanding how to trade. This is, honestly, I don't really use this, to be really honest. This is just for entries. Like I don't, everything is this. Everything I do is all based around this. Without this, that strategy does not exist. And honestly, I personally don't even use that strategy that much. Only for entries, not for what it's really made for. But I just use it to get really good entries. But for AUDCHF, you were saying that it's building power or building up some strength. It absolutely is. I think it's building up some strength to correct. And then obviously we have our initial sell zone right around here as well. Damn, the trains are going crazy in the background. So this is what I would identify. Real simple, not overcomplicating it. Again, not trying to make it difficult. What I am seeing is, again, what type of market am I currently in? I'm in a seller's market. So for me, that seller's market is extremely important because I want to identify continuous bearish opportunities. What else can I confirm? The market is creating lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. This could be potentially the lower high being made right here. At that lower high is where I would like to enter because it's also coming in conjunction with previous price, the support level that was just broken, right? Again, you're never going to see a structure or a price structure being broken with a weak break. It's always going to be strong and impulsive, just like that. Now, it is in fact building up momentum to correct and then enter another possible sell within this market. So this would be the best entry for me to look to sell. So I'm also going to send this up to you guys as well, in case anybody wants to use this in the future, if this does come in fruition into favor. All right, so that is AUDCHF with it already marked up kind of in a sense for potential re-entries, and also obviously just the general direction. We already know where it's most likely headed to the downside. When you scale down to a smaller time frame, such as the 4 hour, let me delete this really quick. When we scale down to the 4 hour and such, we can see how the market is gaining that momentum to be bullish or correct. It's not a reversal. It's most likely a correction to get to another sell point. But how can we determine that the market is obviously looking to correct and turn into a buy? Look at what the market is doing here. It found a level of structure. Is it creating higher lows? It absolutely is. It hasn't created a higher point just yet. It is respecting this resistance range, but we're getting the early indication right now of a bullish momentous market, or at least a correction of this market to enter our potential sell. Now, obviously, if our sell zone is broken and it is not, obviously respected, then we actually have a full-blown reversal, and then we cannot obviously look to sell there. But this is what I would be identifying here with AUDCHF. So hopefully that kind of makes some sense and correlates with what you were initially looking at as well. So with that being said, any other questions? Any other markets you guys want to identify before we conclude? And anything else that I can help you all with right now? By all means, feel free to unmute your mic or simply type in the chat. Anything from you guys? It's your time. Let me know. What's up?
Bitcoin.
Oh, Bitcoin. Yes, that'll be the last thing to look at. Thank you. All right. So, yeah, I got you. Somebody said Bitcoin as well. Absolutely. All right. So what's your general question about Bitcoin? Like, what is your idea of it?
Hold on. Let me pull up my chart real quick.
Okay.
Okay, so Bitcoin. Last night I was on it, and I was on a buy, but it seems like right now it's somewhere at a structure zone. So I took my profit from the buy, and let's see, I want to continue taking it up, but it hasn't broken my zone around the 10,800. So I'm just thinking it is safer until it breaks that zone to the upper, or if not, because right now it seems like it's respecting it, but I don't know if I should take it back down again.
So me personally, like with Bitcoin, because I am going to start trading it instead of investing in it, because I only invest in it. I don't necessarily trade it just yet. I'm still back testing to see how like it works as a structural point. But this is where you're going to get a lot of your analysis for Bitcoin at, the news.
Okay.
not so much technicals. So for me personally, yes, I do think Bitcoin is absolutely a buy. And the reason being is because if I can find it, I need to find it because it's actually really important, even for myself. But there was something that just came out. This was going to go for Bitcoin. This is going to go for Ripple. This is going to go for Litecoin. They have just got a patent or an agreement or something with a company that is going to pretty much solidify Bitcoin as a credible source of income or a credible source of currency. So the news itself is what I follow when it comes to Bitcoin trading. Now, as far as a structure point and price action, absolutely. You can see how it came back down to this initial price range, and that is the level of support, the price, and the most significant level that it is respecting so far. If we see that, what is the current market that we're in right now? A ranging market. What is the market most likely going to do? It's going to probably gravitate towards those ranges, the range high to the range low. So and just to keep it very simple, I do think that it's going to come back and respect these range highs. Because what is the market doing when it came back down to this initial range? Which is to the downside, right? Very strong respect. Bullish candlestick so far. Smaller time frame, that's a break to the upside so far. Same concept where we're looking at all the other pairs. This was a level of structure that needed to be broken in order for us to get the idea that the market was going to continue. Did it break convincingly? With volatility? Absolutely. What should we wait for? And Bitcoin doesn't even correct, honestly. I really don't think it really respects and corrects the way I assume. But perfect world, or if not, Bitcoin's going to skyrocket right now. Because what ends up happening, actually, perfect example, this ends up happening. Consolidates, ranges for a bit, and then it makes its move, right? So I'm not saying to buy it, because that Bitcoin, it'll destroy your account real quick. It could even destroy my account with, like, if I had a 5 standard on Bitcoin, it could destroy one of my accounts, like, probably, you know what I mean? Because that thing moves like crazy. But I do think Bitcoin, especially seeing this, is definitely a buy. It's definitely going to continue to push up high, and especially on the fundamental aspect, Bitcoin is extremely bullish fundamentally, as far as like everything that's being said. Terrorists turn into Bitcoin for funding. Maybe not anymore now that I see that. Terrorists turn to Bitcoin for funding, and they're launching fast. I did not realize that. That might take a really big hit on Bitcoin, to be really honest, due to the fundamental aspect of it. That's crazy. But with the idea of, I need to find that article because a lot of it is going to clarify a lot. Like, it's called Backed, if I'm correct. Yeah, here it is. Bitcoin news after year of hype. Backed soft launches with closed beta. I'm going to send this up to you guys. I don't know if this is the exact article, but this will lead you to the credible sources. A lot of Bitcoin is really sensed around a lot of fundamentals again. So if you could stay on par with your technicals as far as like price is concerned, same concept, you're not going to change it up. At least I wouldn't. And then really no convenience, but back it up with fundamentals, you'll be able to see Bitcoin a lot more profitably. That's what's helped me. And I don't use fundamentals for my Forex trading. I'm all technicals. But with Bitcoin, since it is relatively new and it is really based around a lot of hype, because look at what this was last year or whatever it was, 2016, 17. This was all hype. This was all fundamental. There was no technical analysis needed in this. I would still use the same concept here, right? This actually looks exactly like the first breakout. Look at that. Look at this. History repeats itself. Now, like not perfect, but almost perfect, like almost the same concept, right? I do think we're going to gain enough momentum and hype to drive this market up, especially with this. This is one of the biggest reasons why I started investing back into, or like putting money back into like Bitcoin and XRP. That's another one you guys should look at as well. Ripple, XRP. We broke below the point. I know I put strong buy area. I didn't invest and I definitely didn't trade it. I took profits relatively around these highs when I invested a few months back down here. But this is also going to be affected positively by whatever fundamental news release happens for cryptos. So if you do have a Coinbase, if you have a wallet, a crypto wallet, invest. if you can. Right now, what is this at? 28 cents Ripple. If you put $100, you'll probably get like 400 worth of Ripple, right? Or XRP rather. 400 of those. Let's say this shoots up to where it previously was. It's like $3. You're a millionaire. Not even a joke. You're a millionaire at that point. If it shoots up to the projected $10, you're retired. Your generations are good. So that's why I invested in it instead of traded, because like somebody had said earlier, you definitely could blow your account. The safest way, in my opinion, is to invest in it. But if you trade it, you could definitely be profitable with it. But I do see a lot of these cryptos and being more bullish. Now, I'm sorry, I can't give you more of a technical standpoint, obviously, because there's not much technical really needed, because this really hasn't been a factor for a while. So everything we see here is everything that's needed. So we're still very much bullish. So I would continue to at least hold buys if you are in them up until we get to the range high here of Bitcoin. So that's my honest opinion for the majority of all cryptos. So hopefully that kind of helps as well. I remember seeing something about Bitcoin and the IRS, which caused a drop on the V. Yes, the IRS, the government hates everything crypto because it's not regulated. They can't, and you can't be taxed. Here's a nugget, right? I don't, this sounds pretty bad to say, but I don't pay taxes on my trades only because I take them out with crypto. Everything Bitcoin. I do believe I still have to pay something back at the end of the year, but nothing significant like I used to. So everything with crypto is tax-free. You don't, and you can't track it. So I could send $1 million to somebody and they won't, like, nobody will ever know. The government can't track it. So that's why it's, the IRS doesn't like it, because it's going to help people escape from paying taxes. And it's also going to help big corporations as well not pay taxes. And obviously IRS needs that. And without that, there would be no IRS. And without the IRS, there will be no government. That's the main reason why it is not being praised, because if there's no IRS, the government kind of collapses. Like one pillar of the government collapses, everything falls. So that's the one factor that'll happen. So yes, that did cause a huge drop within all cryptos for that point. And Queen E said Coinbase. Yes, Coinbase. That is a wallet that you can start investing and hold your cryptocurrencies in. If you do not have a Coinbase, or if you don't have, just a wallet in general, by all means, feel free to let me know, and I'll assist you in the best way that I can to help you get started with that as well. But yeah, with all Bitcoin and all cryptos, I do see them to remain relatively bullish, to really answer that question as well. All right. So any other questions before we conclude? I know I had you guys on a while. I don't want to keep you guys too long. Just want to make sure all questions are being answered. So anything I can currently do for you guys, let me know. If not, I'll post up the recording for you guys. Hopefully you all have the chart markups. I will send those chart markups in the Telegram as well for you all to take advantage of. But yeah, any other questions, anything else I can do for you guys, by all means, feel free to let me know. Guys, solid? All right. So what I'll do is I'll post up the recording for you guys. If you guys have any questions throughout the day, by all means, feel free to let me know as well. Chart markups, whatever it is, you're confused on anything, just let me know as well. With that being said, everybody, enjoy the rest of your day. Hopefully these trades that we're in go great. And also the markups that we have, hopefully those fruition and bring us some good profits as well. I'll keep my eyes out on some of these, make sure that I advise you guys on what to do next. And again, if you guys have questions, by all means, let me know, and then we'll take it from there. All right, everybody, appreciate you all. Thank you guys so much. Having a blessed morning, and I'll see you guys same time tomorrow morning. All right.
Thank you very much, Jay.
Absolutely, never a problem.